That brings us over to the FAQ. Now, this is some of the really juicy stuff. We're going to be skimming through this here at the end to bring you guys some of the stuff that aUEC has said over on the Discord. And you can see people popping in and out on here. All right. There's a little, whatever you call this thing, an index here, but we're just going to scroll right down to the meat and potatoes of it. And we're going to get right into all of this. So on the outset here, general combat. Now this does not tell you the question that was asked. There are links, and I'll put this in chat for you guys real quick. For anybody who wants to pull this up and have a more extensive look at it, there you go. And this is going to be some pretty good information here. And these links will take you over to the Discord message. This is an excerpt of what the reply was to the message by aUEC. So all these messages are from aUEC, who was actually just here a little bit ago on the stream. So let's get into some of these. General combat. Entire rework regarding combat is a bit overselling it, perhaps. It gains an iteration towards a better combat, but don't expect it to be perfect yet. We are on an improved vector. We are not scraping any existing combat systems. The game will be recognizably the same, more abilities, more spells, but it's still PAX Day. And again, keep in mind, these are straight from aUEC. These are quotes from him. So we have some fundamental issues with our PvE combat system that will need fixing next. Then we will improve the current group and solo gameplay experiences. When we are at a better state with that, we will consider new combat content. Can I turn this in dark mode or something? My eyes are like getting absolutely blasted here. I'm not sure how I could like tools, view maybe? Can I put this in dark mode? I don't think so. Oh well, it is what it is. Let's see what else they have to say here. What else does aUEC say? That said, PAX Day is not a content treadmill game. We will not have infinite vertical progression. It's not a theme park. We will be focusing on sandbox systems and horizontal progression after the game is in a more finished state. Keyboard layout changes. PAX Day becomes more fun when you have more actions available. We are increasing the amount of actions and also making some of them available much earlier in the game. We want people to be using spells and not just spamming left click for 100+ hours. Oh my gosh, that like resonates with me so much. I mean, I talk about this a lot. It's like, yeah, you're just left click, 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 click. I mean, first of all, let us just hold left click if I want to keep attacking. I don't want to break my mouse, please. Like I'd like to preserve my mouse as long as possible. But yeah, I mean, I think that this is really good stuff to see. And this is, again, straight from aUEC, straight from a dev, talking over on Discord, messages, you can find the links to them so you can get more context if you want. But having buttons to push and having spells to enact is what makes gaming fun. You have more authority over the world around you. You have more input on things that are taking place around you. And I think that this is really great to see. There is a completely revisited keyboard layout coming with verse 3. And that will allow us to have 3 weapon abilities. Interesting. We are removing the modifier keys from the basic keyboard layout to help with accessibility. Interesting as well. Mouse wheel is going to be used for a couple of mandatory actions right now. Even those will be removed eventually. The reason we revised the keyboard layout was that we needed 3 bindings for melee abilities. I mean, I have a very big keyboard with, I don't know how many, over 100 keys, and my mouse has tons of buttons on it. Like, we got buttons. My keyboard has keys. You don't need to like go hunting for bindings. I mean, look at Star Citizen. There's like millions of bindings in that game. They use modifiers all the time. I understand, though, from an accessibility standpoint, that could be harder for some people with dexterity issues. He goes on to say, here, I was giving you wrong information earlier. New spell inputs are 1, 2, 3, control, and new melee ability keys are QRF. Interesting, and they are rebindable. Okay, I mean, yeah, at the end of the day, it's a PC game. You can rebind your keys. I got a whole keyboard here. One solution to this would be to reduce the amount of pickupables, and have them yield more of the same resource that it brings. So I think they're talking about what they did with Clay, reduce the amount of nodes, but then make them give you more. I think that's an interesting take on it. Flax has been discussed recently. He says, we'll consider this. Worried how this will affect the interact to tool gathering feature, as I really would want that to be the primary way to do that sort of gathering. We are working on improving the player experience on this even further. So I think this is they're talking about like picking up flax and gathering things like that. Threat rework. Okay, here, so this should be interesting. We have actually worked on the system support on it. Right now, the bottleneck is the time it takes to balance everything, and most importantly, to test everything. Very likely, the V3, the verse 3 balance will be rough, and we'll be iterating on it in the following months. Okay, so there you have it, straight from Ostrich. He says that combat and all these systems and stuff, they're gonna be a little rough at first, but they're gonna do iterative changes on it to help flesh it out. Blimpy says, must run to work on dinner. Thanks for the stream. Absolutely, Blimpy. Thanks for stopping by, man. I really appreciate you. Take it easy and enjoy your dinner. We'll chat with you more later, buddy. Ostrich says, in general, I appreciate feedback, especially on dungeon gameplay and PvP, especially like videos that demonstrate gameplay and balance issues so I can see them in action. We are in a very active part of development phase still, which means that playing through the game to do test dungeons or PvP is taken away from our ability to make more features and improve the game. So this sort of feedback is very useful. So there you have it. They're talking about wanting videos and stuff to be able to bring more information to them about balance. Spells. It's more than 15. Okay, so talking about how many more spells. He says it's more than 15. We will have a wider selection of spells available in V3, many of which are used reactionary, instant cast. Weapons will also get more abilities. So not only are we getting 15 plus new spells, that many of which are reactionary or instant cast, probably like interrupts and stuff like that maybe. We're also going to be getting those weapon skills. Spells will be much more common in the upcoming new world. That's good to hear. So we will be introducing healing staves in the V3 update. There will be more of a cast. These will be more of a caster weapon. Or he says there will be more of caster weapons coming in later content updates. Okay, so these staves are pretty much just for healing then. And maybe we'll get wands or something, I don't know, in the future that'll allow for some more caster rolls. Because right now we have like the fireballs, but those come from bracers. We have other healing spells and stuff like that as well. Right here they touch on bows. Bows will get love, not in the next update though. There are big plans for them, so that's good to know. Big plans coming for bows. Cat Died says, I want a fireball staff. That'd be freaking awesome, right? Maybe we'll get the chili ring staff. You can slam it down on the ground, part the Red Sea, and put a chili ring on the ground, that fire ring, that the Inquisition do. That'd be pretty cool, man.
I've been wanting that so badly. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I'm tired of having it just used against me. I want to chili ring them,
Yes.
PvP. They say, adding a little more detail here for clarity, PvP is optional in the same way as dungeon gameplay is right now optional. We reward players for different activities, and some of the rewards might be in areas that you expose yourself to. The threat of PvP, even for those items, you will have the option to trade for them if you so please. This white background's burning my eyes, guys. I'm having trouble here. Even the ones most determined to be self-sufficient will need to eventually trade for some goods. I really don't see that being, I don't agree with that. I don't think even the most determined or self-sufficient groups out there will need to trade. I mean, we have so many people in the Order of the Blood Brothers, we can get absolutely anything that we could ever want, no issues whatsoever, hands down, end of story. It's done. End of story. So I don't really truly agree that they're saying everyone will eventually need to trade for something from other players. Sure, we help other players within our community, but that's not trading. I mean, we have a thing. Our clan is very loyal to each other. We help each other out. If you need something, you get something. I'm not like, hey, you got to buy this from me or you got to trade this for me. So I don't consider that trading. Technically, I guess it's trading hands. So maybe that's what they mean by that. In between each player, interpersonal tradings of like, I'll give you this. Oh, hey, you really helped me out with that. I'll give you that back. Maybe that's what they mean. But in terms of like trading for money and stuff outside of social circles, it's not like a mandatory thing, I don't think. They say you can choose what parts of the game suits your playstyle and then trade to get the rewards from the content that isn't for you. So that's how they're saying that nothing is really going to be truly exclusive because you'll be able to trade for it. And they say, and to make it even more clear, some items will only be gotten from PvP-enabled areas, and the alternative way for getting them is to trade for them from other players. So there you have it. There absolutely and unequivocally will be things that are exclusive to the PvP zone, and the only way that you're going to get it if you're not a PvP player is going to be to trade for it. Speaking of that, let's go ahead and, if you haven't voted in the poll yet, I'll leave it up for a couple more minutes, but this reminds me about that poll that I have going. So if you haven't voted in the poll, go and vote in the poll right now. And Sa says, woo, chili rings. Go and vote in the poll. Let me know how you feel about that stuff. If you haven't voted yet, get it in. We're going to end that poll pretty soon here. Let's see what else they say here. You can play the game fully PvE and then trade for the items that will require entering PvP-enabled zones. Now, I personally feel like they've shifted on this a little bit, which again is fine, but I think it's worth pointing out that I think that they did shift on this. I think early on, there were several people in the community who I looked through old messages and stuff, there was a lot of people who were under the impression that there would be no exclusively harvestable PvP items. And I feel like some people feel like they've shifted on that a little bit, which again is fine. The vision of a game can change, but we have to be transparent on that. I think it'd be, forthcoming for them to come forward and say, at one point we were dabbling with maybe, we'd have everything be available everywhere. And now it's different, but it is what it is. Rufat, how's it going? Welcome into the stream, buddy. Hope you're having a great day so far. So let's see. The map change wasn't done because of PvP, so work has already been started on the new Lioness, but many details like the exact form of the economy loops provided there have not been finalized. What is clear to us is that we need to give incentives for people to do PvP, and we want PvP areas to be active. I think the incentive for people to do PvP doesn't need to solely be some exclusive reward. I think if you lower the bar to entry even just a little bit, so let me give an example here. V-Rising is a great game. It has PvP that is timed based on the server settings. Private server, you could set what times you can PvP, or you can make it all the time. You can set the times when you can raid people's castles, so that way there's less likely to be offline raiding. And the server settings dictate what you drop. You can have nothing drop, and you just take durability damage. That's your entry level. That's your barrier to entry then, is can you keep up with the upkeep of dying? And you get to keep all your stuff, but you have to repair your gear, and repairing your gear costs high levels of material. And you can adjust the level at which your gear degrades from PvP and PvE deaths. Again, private servers give you all the customization options you could ever want. It lets you tailor it to how you like. And in V-Rising, I could make it to where you only drop, let's say, materials, but you keep your bloodbound gear, which would be maybe things on your hotbar or maybe just your equipment. You get to customize that. And then if someone kills you, you not only take the durability damage, but you also lose all the materials. The raw materials can be taken from you. Or in V-Rising, I could go through and set it to full loot PvP, where you die, you drop everything. Now, I think that if they say they don't want to have PvP servers or PvE servers. So I think that if they just lower the bar to entry a little bit, maybe just let you keep your equipment, maybe have the divine cast a blessing over you. Maybe you can use some grace to have, it would become meta for PvP, but maybe the divine can cast some spell on you using grace that would allow you to have your equipment be soulbound to you. So maybe your equipment can't be stolen, but all of your materials can. Something to make it a little less harsh. Full loot PvP is very extreme. Very, very extreme. And I think that's why a lot of people avoid PvP altogether. And I think it's why several, if not the majority, if I had to put my money on, I think the majority of people would avoid PvP because of the full loot PvP aspect alone. I'm going to end this poll, and we're going to start another one immediately after. There's a lot of polls this stream, guys. Exclusive things from PvP, 54% say yes, 45% say no. So almost a complete split on a 22 vote there. It's almost right up the middle, guys. And this really shows you how divisive a lot of these different things could be, dividing, straight down the middle on opinions. We're going to start another poll here, and we're going to have full loot PvP. Yes or no? There we go, guys. Full loot PvP, yes or no? Let me know what you guys think about that. I really like doing these polls because I like to hear your opinions on these things. And I think that it's, this stream will be up. It'll turn into a video and it'll be there forever. And people can go back and look at the things that we were talking about during the development process and how we helped to shape the future. So go ahead and vote. Full loot PvP, yes or no? Do you think that that is a main reason that maybe a lot of people aren't engaged in PvP? I mean, we go out in massive groups and stuff, or we go out in the buddy system and things like that. But I think if the barrier to entry was a little bit lower and the combat was a little more fleshed out and the systems were a little more predominant in the game, I think that a lot more people would want to go into PvP. They go on to say, I think we have been extremely clear that all rewards from PvP risk areas are going to be tradable. That makes the content completely voluntary, as there is an alternative way to get the same items. You need to weigh it if you'd rather take the risk or trade for it. And I think that that's really how Andrew's saying, though, that's really going to put it in the PvPers' hands then. If you're going to have this spice, this exclusive resource that is essential to trade and to progression and stuff like that, be tied into the PvP zone, they are the ones who are setting the price on that. So you're dividing the community, right? Maybe even right down the middle, and you're making it to where half of them are choosing truly what it's going to cost. Because honestly, if you have the materials, you can become a crafter yourself. There's no like, well, you're the gatherer, so you can't be the crafter, so you have to take those things and sell them to people and then buy their products back, because then it would even out the power dynamic there. But if you're collecting all these materials, you can produce all of your own stuff. So PvPers are going to dominate the world, in my opinion, according to, all things considered here. Let's catch up on a little bit of chat. EOTB says, take Star Citizen's approach to inventory over equipped items. Yes, they just did change that as well. I'm interested to see how that's going to evolve. Fidril says, I'd like backpack full loot, but equipment items should not be. Yes, that's my favorite. That's what I'm going to use on our V-Rising private server. You will keep your bloodbound gear. You will take a substantial durability hit to it because of the death to prevent people from just respawn, running back out immediately into combat in order to try and get revenge or whatever. But then they can steal your materials and maybe they can steal some other things from you. But I even think I came up with a really interesting system early on, a point system. Maybe, when you go to loot someone, you only have so many points based on maybe the gear you're wearing of what you can take from someone else. There's so many different ways they can do it rather than just you died, you lost everything. So I don't know. Carmack says, aren't the PvEers the ones that are choosing the price for relics though? Why is it wrong if different player types have if they have something to sell on the market? No, I mean, not necessarily though, because there's nothing stopping PvPers from going in and doing the same thing they're doing in PvP to dominate a dungeon as well. There's really no divide there. Whereas PvEers solely, who aren't engaging in PvP, they don't have as much pulling power, in my opinion. I mean, think about it like this, right? My clan's big. My clan can go out in PvP, dominate, do everything we need, but we can also go run dungeons. We don't have a problem with any of that stuff. If you can fight in PvP, you can fight in a dungeon. I mean, spam your left click button. I know that's going to be changing going forward, but I think that PvPers will run the world because there's going to be exclusive things that are out there that PvEers are not going to want to engage in. Normally, PvPers are willing to engage in PvE because there's less risk in PvE. So if they're willing to risk it all in PvP, going into a dungeon is not that big of a deal to them. Whereas PvEers are not as inclined to want to go with the high risk of PvP. So the ultimate power is still going to stay with PvPers, you know what I mean? He said, Carmack says, why do you assume PvPers want to do PvE dungeons? Because it's less risk. I mean, I PvP primarily in World of Warcraft, but I still go run dungeons and stuff. I mean, but even there, the gear is separated, so it's a little bit less of a direct, it's more apples to oranges there because the systems are separated there. But I feel like, we could do a poll on that too and see if maybe there's some other people in the community chime in if you guys have an opinion on this. I feel like it's less of a risk. And Ange, let me know what you think too. I feel like it's less of a risk for you to go from, hey, I just got done fighting other players who were metagaming and exploiting and trying to cheat in order to gain all this advantage, and I acquired these things that are crazy important, and now I can go and just relax and run a dungeon. They're going to be running dungeons, let's face it. Nobody just solely PvPs. There's not really people out there who are like, I'm not a crafter, I'm not a dungeon runner, I only PvP. But there are people out there who are like, I'm only a crafter, I'm only a dungeon runner, and I'm not a PvPer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. There are definitely, I'm sure maybe there are going to be some people who are solely PvPers, but I really don't see a lot of them. I've never even heard of anybody in this game who is just solely a PvPer.
I've never really heard of anyone in any game that only does PvP. There's days where it's like you don't want the stress of dealing with other players in that regard, and you're going to go run some PvE content. I mean, I don't. Right. That's just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think about that, though, for sure.
Yeah, because I mean, think about it. You have to go in there and run those dungeons to get the good gear, to get any gear that you want, and to figure out what builds you want. So I mean, yeah, I just don't see any PvPer not going in to do a dungeon. That's just, yeah.
And that's just our opinion again.
And how are you supposed to get gold if you're just doing PvP? To be able to afford to
you would, I guess, so the argument would be then you're selling the resources that you got from PvP to the PvEers, and then you're getting gold through that way. And then theoretically you would then buy their relics, so the gold would be changing hands. But PvEers are going to run dungeons for sure, guys. Let's be honest.
Think about it like this. You have to have gold to be able to put it on the marketplace in the first place. You have to pay your taxes.
That's true. You do have to pay those taxes.
You have to pay your taxes. So you have to have gold to start even anywhere, which means you're going to have to go in PvE. Right.
Well, I mean, I guess you could say that the PvEers could hire the PvPers for some escort or something as well and give them some gold that way. So, I mean, there's so many different ways you can look at it and so many different moving parts. But at the end of the day, I don't think it's honest to say that PvPers are not going to PvE, but it is realistic to say that PvEers are not going to PvP. I think that is a realistic statement looking at it from the outside in. And that's just, again, it's just only my opinion. You don't have to agree with it. And at the end of the day, we're going to see how it pans out regardless. I think they're going to do what they're going to do in terms of these PvP zones, but Carmack says, at least in Albion Online, it's not really like this. There's a lot of PvPers that are stuck in tier 5 gear because they don't want to grind the XP to unlock the gear. Well, I mean, and I guess maybe there's some people like that in some games, and I don't really know the dynamics of Albion Online. I don't know the interconnectivity between the two aspects of the game, so I'm not really sure to speak on that. UTB says Albion uses it as a gated wall to create to content get farmed by PvPers versus effort and time. Everyone should have the same time sink. So no easy street, but that's real equality and time invested. No way around it. Yeah, I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, it's going to be what it's going to be. And we can talk till we're blue in the face, but I don't think that we're really going to change the outcome of that unless, enough people are honestly that upset about the different things. So it's good to voice your opinions on these, but we're really going to have to get our hands on it and feel it. And that's why I think we're going to need these wipes and stuff, because we're going to need to get out into PvE and into PvP and see how people are going to trade and how the economy is actually going to work when we have a real economy. Because right now it's like no one needs anything. No one trades anything really. It's kind of just like a convenience thing, saves you a little bit of time here and there. But I mean, I'm a PvPer and we acquired every single thing that we ever wanted from PvE as well by just going to the dungeons. Mm-hmm. The Goreforce says, if this game was Albion Online, it would be great love. It would be great love the market, just kind of bored with that kind of combat. Yeah, I mean, and that's the beauty of it, though. We all have our different opinions on how this could be done and stuff, but it's going to be interesting to see how it does pan out. But this is made clear here by what Osric has said. Let's see what else he has to say. Lioness will be quite different from what it currently is. I don't think a single clan could block access to it. I don't know, man. I mean, there are some really big clans out there. I mean, we have 250 members. Can you imagine if all of those people came back to play the game and there was reasons for them to stay playing and engaged and stuff? I mean, that's a lot of manpower. I don't know if other smaller groups could even. Now, we're not ones to just go and be like, you can't harvest here. Like, we're for the free people. We defend people's rights to. We go out there and we kill the clans like the White Ravens and stuff, which I've shown off here on my channel before, huge PvP clashes and stuff to make it safer for individuals to go out there and harvest and things like that. But I don't know. I think a single clan could technically block it off, or at least an alliance or a coalition or something. They definitely could. I mean, I don't know how much bigger it's going to be when it comes out, but I guess we'll see. So this doesn't mean that we as developers are forcing them in the case they are forcing it upon themselves. Again, though, it comes back to that whole power dynamic. I think this is in reference to people choosing to partake in PvP or not, and that you'd be then forcing it upon yourself. They're trying to lean into the whole, hey, look, we're allowing you to opt into it. And I can respect that. The itemization will be charged quite a bit. The itemization will be, changed quite a bit. You will have options that are not as expensive to get. What is that in regard to? Incentivizing PvP to punish players so badly for losing. Full loot of magic items would be a game breaker. Yeah, see, that's what they're talking about here. And that's what our poll's about right now too, guys. So he's saying that itemization will be changed quite a bit, and you will have options that are not as expensive to get to use in PvP, I'm assuming is what they're in reference to. Here's in regards to the full loot or bag only. There's been multiple different types of tried systems or tiered systems discussed. We have not decided on one yet. So they are open, guys, to bag loot, full loot, all kinds of tiered systems and stuff. They're open to that. They've said so right here. Again, this is directly from a developer. Lioness has been completely rebuilt for a later update. We have the new Lioness made, but still need to fill it in with all the content. Interesting. They did talk about those cities and stuff. I don't know what that means. He says, maybe we have, and this is in regards to, have you all considered allowing players to tier up relics in the PvP zone? Interesting. So he says, maybe we have with a tongue face. The new Lioness has very little to do with the old Lioness. It's not an incremental update. It's a complete remake of, and is quite different. That's quite interesting. So a completely remade Lioness. This is going to be interesting, guys, going forward. Come and join the Bastion Concord if you want to have protection and security and stand up for the free and innocent people out in the PvP zone going forward. We're going to be making sure that we're patrolling the PvP zone. We're keeping all the free and innocent people safe from smaller groups and making sure that place is not going to be overrun by bandits and murderers and people who want to impose their will upon you. Come and join the Bastion Concord, an alliance that is not based on handshakes, but based on actions of actually standing up for other people out there in the open world. Come and join the Bastion Concord. We have a recruitment video for that as well. Exclamation point Discord in chat. We'll get you a link over to the Cheeky Buggers United community Discord server where the Order of the Blood Brothers hangs out with all of our allies and stuff. They go on to say dungeons. This is a new category, PvP dungeons. This is going to be interesting here because we've talked about this before on the channel about dungeons being PvP because they're in the Wildlands, right? So if we ever get PvP in the Wildlands, naturally all of the dungeons will be PvP. I honestly think that something must be done about the dungeons because right now you can troll people in dungeons, you can chain pull on people, and there's not a damn thing you can do about it to prevent it other than complain about it, really. I mean, there's nothing you could do to stop bad faith actors and trolls from ruining your experience, trying to get you wiped, and ultimately just making the game a bad again, private servers could greatly benefit from this. But they say that noted. I can say that these do not exist in Lioness right now. I will request for them. Okay, so Ostric's going to request for PvP dungeons out in the PvP zone. That'd be really interesting, actually, to put some real dungeons out there. That way, if you run into people along the way, so I think that's going to run into some problems on their own, because what if you phase in and people kill you at the entrance? They're just guarding the entrances. Like, metagaming, cheating, and exploiting will always be a thing, and it will always ruin my immersion. He said, this is still all quite undecided. One current thing is that we might add some dungeons in the PvP territories and perhaps give some kind of bonus to currency drops, but we would not make exclusive item drops in those dungeons. Interesting. So they're okay with exclusive items in the PvP zone, like harvestables and stuff, but maybe not relics being dropped out there that are exclusive.
So I definitely thought about this, and I think the whole reason why they have to say that they're exclusive items in the PvP zone is because they're basically making the PvP zone part of the wildlands. So even if you go to cross to another area, you're crossing PvP territory.
We don't know that yet, though. They haven't really said that. They've kind of alluded to it, that maybe the wildlands will be used for the knights and the baronies and the open conflict PvP like that if you've opted into it. But otherwise people will be forced to stay in their own home valley and never traverse to another one. So I don't know for sure. They haven't really locked it in and said that the wildlands will be PvP with full loot PvP and all that, just like Lioness. Have they?
I thought they had. Again,
yeah, I'm not positive.
I don't. Maybe they've just alluded to it, and that's why I thought that.
Yeah, I think it's been heavily alluded to that baronies will be run by the church system, which will then be enforced by the knights and the soldiers. I think they've alluded heavily to that, and that the baronies will be buildable out inside of the wildlands, and that's where sieging and stuff may or may not take place. That was if I had to give my thoughts on it, that's what I would think. God Silent Grace says, Erlen, when they talked about the night stuff, they did say it'll be PvP, but they didn't really say what type of PvP though, right? Is it going to be like Lioness full loot, or is it only PvP for the knights? Because again, the knight stuff, knights will be flagged because they'll say, hey, I'm a knight, I'm choosing to be a knight or a soldier, and so therefore it's risk reward in other places. I don't know.
I don't know. I remember when the conversation first occurred, they had what? Hold on.
The Goreforce says, but yeah, they said that the wildlands will be becoming something that's fought over. Yeah, but again, is it going to be opt-in? We just don't fully know. I mean, at the end of the day, either way, I mean, we'll see as it comes out. UTB says a non-knight and or etc. would be attackable in those zones over Lioness. Will not be attackable in those zones over Lioness. Again, I can't confirm that. I don't know. I mean, we have our ideas and thoughts on what they've said in the past. If we have concrete evidence said from a dev, even then, they may have shifted priorities or changed their vision. This is stuff that Ostric has said like yesterday.
Ostric, yes!
Hey, there he is. There he is. So Ostric says, belonging to a feudal will not automatically flag you everywhere. Okay. So, I mean, there you go. That's it's interesting. It's a little bit of tidbit for you guys right there. Interesting. So, yeah, I wonder if you can be a part of a feudal system and then you can choose to flag yourself. I wonder what the risk reward will be for flagging yourself then, though. I don't know. Maybe there's got to be some reason to be a knight and then be like, I'm a knight and yes, I'm flagged for PvP. Because otherwise, why would people do it? So there's probably going to be something tied to that. But I don't think there's been anything really concrete. Ostric, you can correct me if I'm wrong if you want to. You don't have to, obviously, but I don't think there's really been anything fully concrete said on that yet. Maybe down below, I haven't read these are all of your comments here, Ostric. I don't know for sure, but I want to say that it's not fully locked in yet as to what the systems will be for out in the Wildlands. I think that maybe the Wildlands will be for those baronies, where that's where like sieges and stuff can take place. Kind of like over on Renown, where, you siege someone's castle and it's this whole dynamic event.
Yeah.
But let's see what else Ostric had to say yesterday that was put into this nice little compact form for us. That said, there will be PvP exclusive resources / item drops. Just specifically dungeons are right now viewed as very PvE oriented content. I am personally very interested in PvP dungeons because that would mean more random encounters with 6v6 people. But the problem is I don't run a dungeon with just 6 people. I run a dungeon with 20 people. I run a dungeon with 30 people. So if I run into people in a PvP dungeon, it's going to be, unless you limit how many people from the same clan or how many people can phase in to a dungeon, I don't know how that would work really, but I run dungeons with a lot of people. I mean, we run smaller dungeons as well too, but like when we go to do something, we do it big. I mean, having 250 members, we have a lot of people at our disposal to go and do all kinds of stuff. We run 5 dungeons at a time with 10 people. It's going to be interesting to see how that evolves going forward, to be honest. Cat Died says, can't wait for the feudal system. That'll be the primary reason for me to play, is being a part of the fighting force, vying for power in the Wildlands and Lioness. Yeah, I think that's going to be a really big part for a lot of people. But again, it should respect your time. And that's why I think this whole debate over, should we do full loot? Should we not do full loot? If you haven't voted yet, guys, we have another poll. We've done a lot of polls this stream, but go check it out. Vote in that poll. Let us know if you think full loot should be there or not. And let's continue with more of these notes here. My own assessment, and this is Osric speaking from yesterday's Discord conversation, my own assessment of if that dungeon loot is even better than before, but the normal crafted items are going to be significantly better. Interesting, okay. So part of the reason why we need PvP is also to not have to rely on much for PvE to chum items, or to churn items out of the game. Right now, many players are complaining that it takes forever to farm for an item, and then then the item lasts. Oh, I see. The item doesn't last as long as it takes to farm it for some people. This is a symptom of the PvP churn missing. Interesting take on it for sure. What about bosses? Bosses are a bit off for us. We need to improve on normal. I think what they mean by they're a bit off, like they're a bit of the ways off. They're not coming just yet. First, we need to improve our normal sized enemy gameplay quite a bit. Gotcha. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So bosses, gonna be a little ways out, guys. Let's see here. Gear, weapons, durability. So there are talks of a completely revised durability system that isn't based on usage and is more divided amongst all gear instead of being so much focused on one item. I'm gonna need to refill my water here. Excuse me. Like shield or the weapon. Interesting. So maybe a new durability system coming into play. There are plans to change how durability works. This should more equally use durability over different types of items. Maybe that means when you use an item, it's going to take durability damage now, because right now my magnificent leather pauldrons will last me forever because I put them on, I cast the spell, and I put them back in my bag and they never even take a hit. And I know a lot of people use a lot of different magic gear like that. They swap them on and off. So I think they're going to be changing all of that though. I don't think it's going to be super obtainable, or you're not going to be able to do that as much anymore in the future. Hey Black Wolf, how's it going, man? Welcome into the stream, buddy. Yeah, I don't think you're gonna be able to swap your gear around as much going forward. I guess we'll find out as they fully flesh out those systems going forward. Let's see what else Osric had to say here. All the items and the loot economy are being remade from scratch. Wow, that's surprising, honestly. I don't know the exact economy plan, but I know that there are fixes to it. This is the logical place they will be implemented. For clarity, he says, armor, weapons, and components for magic items are redone. Not everything. Okay. So not every single piece of it. Interesting. There's a lot of really good stuff here, guys. And this is what a lot of people miss out on. And this is where I talk about having transparency in posts and stuff, because not everybody's going to dig through all of this stuff. It's nice that someone took the time I think it was put together by Phoenix, took the time to put all this together, but not everyone's going to want to go and sift through Discord for days on end, having to search for messages from devs in order to find any bits of information or clarity about certain things. So I'm happy to have this tool, but a lot of people are very, very hungry for transparency when it comes to a lot of these things. Durability is being looked at, and some durability loss will move from usage to punishment on failure. Oh, okay. Combat, but still, is it going to damage the items that are just in your bag when you die, or only items you're wearing? Because then my magnificent leather pauldrons are still going to last me a lifetime, because I'm not going to be wearing them when I die. Let's see what else he says here. The customization systems have just been the victim of deprioritizing because there's always another fire that needs extinguishing. It's slowly coming. Okay, so customization systems are in the works for having some custom armors and things like that. We talked about this a long time ago as well, guys. I'm super excited for having custom armor. Give us the maker's mark. Give us ways to sell things that it's not just every single sword is the same, you know? Let us make them unique. Markets. Very likely markets will eventually get more updates. I know there's already a list of things that would be wanted. We had a team spend a huge chunk of time on the current market feature. So right now they are focusing on other things. Okay, so market stalls and markets not really getting too much in the near future according to the reprioritization here. EOTB says, at InterSleuths, and thank you for presenting it and let the players, consumers make the call based on the facts. We appreciate you. I appreciate you, man. That's what this is all about. That's what my PaxCasts have always been about, is giving a voice to the individuals. And that's what I love about this place. That's why I love reading your guys' messages too. It's always a blast. So I appreciate you. Thank you for being here, EOTB. Let's see, what else did he say? Actually, there might be something like that coming, and that is in response to, I really wish we had receipts. Oh, he's talking about being able to see what you sold and stuff like that. They did talk about that. We do know that that is coming. Hashtag soon TM. We don't know when. Trade skills, enchanting. Wasn't enchanting in the roadmap? Is it on the roadmap? Just not for verse 3? Yeah. Was enchanting on an earlier roadmap? Did it get removed? I think it's image number 5. Let me pull up the old roadmap. Hold on one second here, guys. This is the old roadmap. What's on this? Later during early access, weather got bumped. Farming, I think, got bumped. I don't see anything on this one.
I don't see anything about enchanting.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know that they talked about it, and I think it was in Alpha 1. I think Alpha 1 had enchanting and stuff. Black Wolf says, thank you for having this part organized. Having buy orders coming sooner than later is nice. Yeah, buy orders will be really nice. Because yeah, he says actually there might be something like that coming. But again, hashtag soon TM. We don't know when. I mean, there's a lot of things that are coming. I mean, we're going to have the church systems coming. The barony systems are coming. Like all of this stuff is coming. We don't really know if it's sooner rather than later. I would think that wouldn't be too hard to implement. But again, I'm not a developer. Hopefully we do get that soon though, because I know a lot of people really want those statistics and stuff. Let's see what else they say. Enchanting should be in the later section. It was probably not deemed big enough to be listed there. There are many huge things coming up, like new lioness, horses, etc. Oh, interesting. So now Ostrich says here, as of yesterday, that horses are coming. I mean, we always knew that horses were coming, but in the last PaxCast, he said that they weren't currently being worked on. I guess priorities shifted around. Maybe they are working on horses again now, guys. Maybe we'll be getting them. If not in the next update, maybe the one after that. Who knows? Maybe, maybe in the next 6 months, we might have horse. Building. I'm really the wrong person to ask about building pieces. He says, I would think so, because he says, what new build pieces will be released prior, or will they be released prior at the same time as the world wipe? He says that he thinks that they would be released at the same time. I would hope so, because again, we don't want to have double building. You don't want to have the wipe come, you rebuild, and then a month later you get the new build pieces and you want to rebuild again. Like, I would hope they would just come with the verse update. On the wipe, there's been no decision yet. There is a big reason to do bigger wipe than we had been doing in the past, because this update is so much bigger than verse 1 or verse 2, and doing a migration on a lot of these things we changed is harder. Many progression-related things are changing, and the itemizations are changing. Balance is changing. Interesting. So there you have it. They're starting to talk more about the wipe here. It's going to probably be a bigger wipe, guys. Door locks have been discussed. They're in need for eventually for some PvP related content. Again, probably the baronies, be able to lock your doors. I would argue that even for RP, being able to lock your doors in the heartlands and stuff is important as well for, having the authority over your property. If I'm paying a subscription to keep my plot alive, I should be able to tell you who can come on it and who can't come on it, or into my buildings at very least. But not done right now, they say, about the locks. Upcoming wipe details. So we haven't decided on how extensive the wipe will be. Don't expect it to be the same as verse 1. The changes are much bigger this time around. Again, this is going to lead itself towards most likely being a full wipe. Like I've said at the early stages of this stream, which was over 4 hours ago, guys. We've been streaming for over 4 hours. Big information drop here. They say if a wipe was required to be more extensive, there would still be some kind of compensation based on some metric or effort per account, maybe playtime or something. I don't know, because then that's bad. Because then, like, in my opinion, people could just keep their characters logged in and, you know, have some macro to make them move around or something. And then boom, now you just get the biggest reward or something like that. I don't know. Those things are a little cheesy to me. I think just do a wipe. I don't need compensation. The compensation enough is having content added into the game. I don't need compensation. Wipe the world, wipe it all. Let us start fresh. We're going to help those smaller groups around us be able to build up and stuff and help them with acquiring things like we always have. We have the bounty board. We have the infrastructure to help people with those things. Just do a wipe. Let us retest everything and do it from the ground up. I don't think this whole compensation based on metrics of effort per account and stuff, I think that's all completely unnecessary in my opinion. Black Wolf says it's very likely a full wipe. Likely with the redeeming queue set up somewhat. I hope it doesn't carry too much, or if they won't enable redeeming queue for this update, full wipe. Yeah, just do a full wipe, honestly. I mean, we showed the metrics. We did a poll here on the channel. You can scroll up. We just did a poll, and a lot of people were like, yep, just give us the full wipe. I think it was only 3% said they didn't want a full wipe out of a lot of votes. I'm going to go ahead and end this current poll here. Let's see what you guys said. So full loot PvP, yes or no. 75% of 24 votes say no to a full loot PvP, and 25% say yes. So it's very interesting. 3/4 of the people there from the 24 votes say that don't want full loot PvP. It's gonna be interesting after reading what Ostrich has said. It's gonna be interesting to see what they actually do with it going forward. All I've been saying is that it's good not to expect. Oh, okay, here. So this is in response to actually something that I said. So this is Osric replying to me right here. And this took place yesterday over on the Discord. There's a link to the chat right there. He says, all I've been saying is that it's good not to expect the wipe to be exactly like it was. The last thing I'd want to happen is people start now stockpiling materials for a wipe, and then we end up wiping all items. Or that they grind out 200 hours of crafting skill, and then we have to reset their character skills. There you have it, guys. I mean, to me, coming from a developer, and Osric, I don't know if you're still there. If you want to chime in more, you can. You don't have to, obviously. But I think people are really searching for a lot of clarity on this. And I know that maybe the answers just aren't there yet. But to me, this reads as the wipe will need to be more extensive than it was from verse 1 and verse 2 because, again, it's a bigger update. They need to wipe more. What I would take from that is, like I said, I'm going to reiterate exactly what I said before, was the previous wipe was just the world. We kept all of our items, they went into a redeeming queue, and we kept all of our skills. We just had to remake our character. We didn't really lose much besides our buildings. With this one, if it's going to be a bigger wipe, which they're saying, they're alluding to the fact that it will be a bigger one, I would think that you would either have to have no redeeming queue or your character would be wiped, or both. That's really the only way it's a bigger wipe, right? And that being said, with a developer telling us the last thing they want is to have people stockpile materials or spend 200 hours grinding crafting skills just to have them be wiped, not a lot of people are going to be super active for the next 3 months or until we get this update. And I think that that's a double-edged sword. I think that it's good that they give us that transparency. And I don't think that necessarily that should hinder you from testing and reporting bugs and problems like that and stuff. But this is definitely going to be a barrier to a lot of people wanting to get back into the game in any meaningful way. He goes on to say, so we tend to only want to wipe as little as possible as we value all the progress people have made. But again, we go to leave early access, it's all going to be wiped anyways. So database migrations can sometimes be hard, especially since we are reworking so many things at once. It very well could be that the wipe is more extensive than before. It's going to be, guys. It's going to be a bigger wipe. I would expect a full wipe. Just expect that, and then anything less, cool. Anything more, I mean, you can't really wipe more than that, but I'm cool with no matter what, I'm cool with it. Osric, thanks for the message, buddy. Osric says, we don't have any knowledge if it will be a bigger wipe or not. It might have been a mistake to say anything if it's now making people rethink about playing the game. I completely get it. And that's why, Osric, I'm saying it's a double-edged sword at the end of the day. It really is a double-edged sword. I think the goodwill of being transparent with people when you do have some level of information is so much more valuable than like being deceptive. I'm not saying that you guys ever would be in that regard or that you have been, but if anyone was to ever, if a developer was ever to withhold information about an upcoming wipe simply because they knew that it would prevent people from wanting to invest hundreds of hours into the game that they knew would then be removed, to me, that could come across to players as deceptive and would burn some goodwill. So, and honestly, however, it is a double-edged sword. I think that it's good to ultimately be honest with people and say, hey, realistically, this is what we're looking at here. It's a bigger update, maybe a bigger wipe. If it's not, it's not. If it is, it is. But I think that has a lot of goodwill with the community. And I think that that's more important than anything else, really. You want to have that goodwill. So, I mean, I appreciate your comments on it and I appreciate you chiming in here, but we're not putting it on you. It is what it is. It's not on you if they do a full wipe or not, or if people play the game or not. Honesty is always the best option. And you're right. I don't want people grinding 200 hours of a craft skill just to then have the world be wiped, because then you know what that's going to translate to? They played now, but they're not going to play after the wipe. If they just ground 200 hours out within the next 2-3 months, they're not going to come back after that. They're going to be like, absolutely screw that. I just spent 200 hours grinding this stuff. I'm out of here. I'll come back when it's full on. So it's a double-edged sword. It definitely is. So it's going to be what it's going to be, guys, if they wipe or not, or how big the wipe's going to be. UTB says, database cleanup is always no easy task for sure. Ange, did you have anything to say about the wipe and the?
Proceed. No.
Oh, you're good. Okay. Maven says, I'm in the camp of wanting to know with some sort of heads up though, to choose how to invest my time as a player. Absolutely, and that's where the respect and everything comes from. Black Wolf says, I can say from members I've spoken to in the community, you mean in your clan or on Discord or where, we are expecting and prepared for what you guys are ready for. I think having forward notice at least would be sufficient for most players. Yeah, and that's the honesty and the transparency. That's where that comes in, Emerald says, knowing that this could be a full wipe has made me reevaluate what I do when playing the game, changing my focus on experiencing other parts of the game. And that's a take on it too, Tim says, I took their comment that it would be a full wipe, but that there would be a redeeming queue, but that a lot of items would not be in it, basically because they're changing. Oh, maybe we will get a redeeming queue, but they'll just change what items are going in there, or maybe they only give us half of the items. I don't know. That definitely is a possibility as well. Maven says, doesn't mean I won't log in to hand out some justice to the Inquisitors or Zebs. Absolutely. Osric says, so my understanding is that the wipe is still a way off. There's still going to be an update in between. I guess my question there would be, and you don't have to answer, obviously, this is completely consensual, but my question there would then be, is it going to be verse 3 that's coming with the wipe? The wipe's coming with verse 3, I would assume. So you're saying there's going to be a patch or an update in between verse 3, because verse 3, again, what's the date, Ange? They said it's going to be coming. They said it's most like.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's most likely to be coming before June 20th, because that's when they're, when they've said it's to meet their seasonal expectation, and things can get moved, obviously. I'm not opposed to, hey, we need another month. Like, it is what it is. I'm along for the ride, right? I'm not gonna bash a developer for being open about something and then telling us, hey, we ran into some troubles here, we ran into some roadblocks, it's gonna take another month to really get this feature out or something. I love transparency over anything else, and that's why telling us about the wipes and stuff I think is super important. But so my question would be, the wipe's coming with verse 3 then, which is coming hopefully within the next 3 months, but if it gets pushed back, it gets pushed back. So you're saying there's another update that potentially could have some of these smaller things that's going to be coming in between it. That's how I would take it, my interpretation. That's interesting. That could change people's minds on that for sure. Exactly, yeah, and that's how we've talked about that a bunch on the channel too. Osric says, wipe comes with big changes. We only wipe if we must. So I mean, the way I read that, guys, is there will be a patch between now and 3 months from now. And that patch will have not as much stuff in it. It'll be a little iterative patch in between. It's not going to have a wipe. And then most likely there's going to be a wipe. I would prepare for a full wipe around 3 months with verse 3. That would be my take. Let's see what else they have to say here. So we tend to only wipe as little as possible because they value people's stuff. I think we're nearing the end here, guys. Many progression-related things are changing. All items are essentially going to be removed and replaced from scratch. Interesting. So that would be a reason why we would need a full wipe, or at least a more extensive wipe. Most abilities and spells are reworked. That's very interesting. Most abilities and spells are reworked. Very, very interesting. Now, this could mean something like we've noticed with some of the heals being much more fast casting, having different cooldowns, having different animations. All of these things could be reworked, air quotes, reworked. And it doesn't necessarily mean like it's a whole new, entirely different thing. It could just mean something like maybe they tweaked things about it. Let's see what else they say here. So they're going to be... the world is being rebuilt. All NPCs are being rebalanced. Interesting. That's really good to hear, actually, because some of them are too easy and some of them are a little too hard, you know? I think that's great to see that those balances are coming. This was another one that I had a big question on, too, was recycling when? Recycling is in active discussion. Not sure on the exact version when it arrives. So there you have it. Recycling is in discussion, but... no time frame there on that. Yes, this is why we are making recycling. This is already decided, and that's in response to, can you consider about the fact that we are dropping down, and then he puts a giant number, like 17 trillion items just to level up. Absolutely, and we talked about this extensively on the channel as well, guys. That is a big hindrance. And I think it'd be cool to have a system where maybe you're upgrading something into the next tier. V-Rising does this. You take your existing gear and then you upgrade it as you earn in the unlocks for the next tier. And that way your previous stuff is not wasted as well. You could take a sword to a blacksmith and they could rework it or sharpen it or do some modification to it or something. But that goes back to the modifying of things. There's a lot of theory craft we do, as we always say here, but recycling will help with the 13,451 trillion items that end up in rivers. Caravans or faster travel. Faster travel is not for item transport. I don't want to spill the beans on this since I don't know the final state of things, but it was discussed that the fast travel cost would increase for the amount of items. And we've known this. We have talked about this for the items that are in your inventory. If you have a bunch of maybe raw materials or product or something in your inventory, using fast travel is going to cost you maybe more grace the further you are. So the further you are, the more things you have, it's going to cost you if you want to skip over all of the dangers that are going to be between you and your final destination. And I think that's a good system, to be honest, because then that's really going to not take away from mounts, and mounts will still have a place in the world, and fast travel will still have a place in the world. And then I think this is the final one here. Yep. I looked into the horizon and didn't see the oceans. New regions, I need Atlantis, I need oceans. Where are the oceans? And then Osric said, I looked into the horizon, I didn't see the oceans. There you have it, guys. I put a link for all of this in chat so you guys could check it out. Maybe I'll put it on let's share it on my Discord as well so you guys can join the Cheeky Buggers United. Type !Discord in chat right now. You'll get a link over there.